I always believed I made some financial blunders early on in my life. Invested in ULIP, invested in a real estate property very, very early in my life. But when I actually ran the numbers, I was shocked looking at the returns that I got from those mistakes that I had committed. The first mistake that I committed was that I invested in ULIP. Back in 2010, I started investing approximately 50,000 rupees a year into it. And it was like a long commitment. I had to keep investing into it for a period of 15 years. And it would have given me the promised amount was around 8 9 lakh rupees. Now, if I look at it at that time and if I compare it with mutual fund returns, the returns were not that great. But why I don't now consider that as a mistake? Because what I got out of it was discipline. What I got out of it was long term commitment. I saw a lot of people taking out their ULIP money and not really doing anything with it. A lot of people thought that investing in ULIP was a mistake, and when they realized that it was a mistake, they took money out of it midway at loss. But then, what did they do with that money? They didn't invest, and that was the biggest mistake. What I did was that I continued with it, and it is there, and it will come out or maybe come into my account in about 2 to 3 years' time, and about 8 lakhs would come. In terms of returns, it wasn't great, but in terms of consistency and holding on to investment, that worked out for me. Mistake number two that I committed was that I started investing into real estate very, very early in my life. 2010-11 is when I invested into real estate. It was a construction link plan, and I had to pay approximately 1.5 lakhs, 1.6 lakhs a year for a period of 10 years, and then I would have got the house. So I got the house in 2021 or 2020, and then I put it on rent. And when I ran the number, I had to invest for like 10 years. And the house at one point, it wasn't even giving me great returns. But I held on to it for a very long time. And when I sold it for about 36 lakhs. And I was like, I invested about 16, 17 lakhs in it. I held on to it for a very long time. And still, it got me only 36 lakhs. But when I actually ran the numbers, I got to know that it was actually giving me a CAGR of about 11 to 12%, which, if you look at it, even if you compare it with mutual funds, that's the number that we look at. When we invest in mutual fund, we look at 12%, 13% is what it should get you. And I'm not even counting the rental part that I actually received over the 4 years when I was holding that property and it was already constructed. So if I look at it, it wasn't really a big mistake. And the third mistake, I used to think that was the biggest mistake of my life as far as the financial career is concerned, was that I didn't correct my earlier two mistakes. That I didn't take money out of ULIP and I didn't sell my property in time. But when I actually ran the numbers, I got to know that it wasn't really a mistake. The first two were not mistakes because they taught me discipline, they taught me consistency. They actually got me into investments for a long period of time. And at the end of it, because I didn't switch over from ULIP to something else, or I didn't switch over from my real estate to something else, the compounding effect actually came into the whole situation. Till 2020, that house that I sold for 36 lakhs in 2024, the value of that house was nothing more than 25, 26 lakhs. If I had sold it at that time, the compounding effect would not have come. And for 8 years, or for 8 years, I was invested in it, and I would not have gotten great returns. But I kept on, going with that investment, and eventually the compounding effect came in. And that mistake, which I thought was a mistake, ended up being a blessing because I stayed invested for a very, very long time, and it gave me some amount at the end of it. And like I said, when I ran the numbers, it gave me a CAGR of around 11 to 12%. So now if I look at it, if I had invested, let's say, the entire amount mutual funds only, then of course my corpus would have been maybe 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs higher than what it is today. But 10 lakh, 15 lakhs in 5 CR corpus is not a huge number, right? Now I think that these were not really mistakes. These were forced investments that I started off very early. Instead of not investing at all, I at least invested something, whether it was ULIP or into a real estate property in which I was not even going to live. So if you think you've made some bad investments, don't panic, because no investment can be a bad investment. It can give you lesser return or higher returns, 1%, 2% here and there, but no investment done early will be a bad investment. My name is Navdeep Dalia. If you've liked my videos, please subscribe and comment if you have any questions. Thank you very much.